Hi, and welcome to the Cash for Your Home podcast. Special guest today, Chris Schmidt in the Houston, Texas area. Chris, so good to have you here today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming. So let me jump right in. Let me just ask you a few questions. How long
Sure.
have you been in real estate?
As of October of this year, it has been 20 years.
Wow,
Yeah,
20 years.
it's been a while.
Wow. If you had to guess, how many transactions do you think you've had ballpark?
Oh my gosh. Probably 1100 ish.
Wow. So you've
Yeah.
helped 1,100 people move out of one or
Well, I
into
guess
another.
technically it would be like 2200 families, right?
Oh,
Because
wow. Yeah.
we help somebody buy or we help somebody sell, but there were, two parties in the transaction. So,
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, so why do you do it? Why do you do this?
well, honestly, my favorite part is when we find somebody the right house and their face lights up and they get so excited because they have fallen in love with this house. Or on the other side of it, when we've been on the market and we we get an offer and they finally get through all of the stages of that offer and realize we're selling our house, and then they get excited about what their next adventure is, right? Either they've bought a house or they're moving to another city or whatever that might be. But just the reactions that you get from the people that you're helping move forward in their life is really what motivates
Wow, that's awesome. It sounds like you're in it for all the right reasons.
me. I hope so.
What's a crazy story you could tell us about a real estate transaction?
Oh my gosh. Probably the craziest thing that I've ever dealt with is this has been 10 years ago, 15 years ago, probably. So we had a house on the market. We had a couple of different offers on the house. We finally chose the particular buyer because she had the strongest financing. She, uh, appeared to really be invested in wanting this house, get through the inspection process, get through the appraisal process. We're getting close to closing, and she decides she doesn't want the house. Well, the agent calls me and says, "Hey, you know, we're really not wanting to do this anymore." And so you know, at that point, legally, she is bound to the earnest money, at least losing that, if not so, if the sellers wanted to go after, a judgment, against her, they could have. But what she did is she actually checked herself into a mental facility and declared that she was unfit to have signed the contract in the first place. So that so she actually checked herself in and has this now in her medical records that she's nuts just to get out of a contract and not lose any of the money.
Wow, my goodness. I guess you sold enough houses, you're gonna run into that kind of stuff
Yeah,
for sure.
it's amazing how even though the process is usually still the same, every week, every month of every year, we learn something different or we come across something new that we've never dealt with before. And we have to, you know, get through that process to make sure that we get our clients what they need.
So you're not just a realtor; you're also a broker,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
So that's kind of like you're the boss.
I am. And actually, as of October of 22, actually own my own company now as well.
And tell us
So
about that.
yeah, so I've been a licensed broker for about 17 years, but I was just an associate broker underneath the brokerage that I was working at before. And in October of 22, actually, bit the bullet and went out and did our own thing. And now we have our own company. And so we're building our own brokerage now.
Wow. So as a brokerage, what are the things that you're doing to make things better for the customer with your company now that you're in charge?
Well, so the real difference with what we've been able to do owning our own brokerage compared to we were under one of the big national brands before, and we were really limited to what the broker and or attorneys would allow us to guarantee. And so now that we have moved into our own brokerage, we're allowed to pretty much do whatever we want. And so we're able to advertise and market and actually provide the written guarantees that come along with our company that we were not able to do before. For instance, the your home sold guaranteed or buy it guarantee, they really had an issue with that because they wanted me to be able to prove financially that I would be able to purchase whatever home it was that we were marketing, even though not only do we have, close to 70 cash buyers in our program, um, also have, some local investors that were willing to, jump up and purchase the homes for us. So we could guarantee that sale, whether it was me buying it or guaranteeing that we had another buyer that was waiting in line to buy it if we couldn't sell it on the open market.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now I've done a little research. You offer guarantees.
We offer a lot of guarantees.
What's your favorite one?
Um, I think the favorite one right now is, and what really gets a lot of people excited, is we do a 100% of market value or 100% of asking price guarantee, or we pay them the difference. So we can put a house on the market and guarantee that whatever the asking price is that we put on the market, if we don't get that for our sellers, we'll actually reimburse them the difference at closing.
Wow. I also read about, well, obviously the name of your brokerage is Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty.
Yes.
So as a person that owns a home and is at some point going to have to buy another home and sell this home, I always have the concern, what if my house doesn't sell? What if I don't find my house after my house, before my house sells?
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be a common thing. What's your solution for that?
So the guaranteed sale program is something that works very well for a seller who also is going to buy. So what we can do is we can guarantee the sale of their home. We can give them written offers, whether it's from our investors, whether it's from me personally, that we guarantee that this is the value of what we can sell your home for. And we give that to the client in writing so they know exactly how much they're going to get out of their house, worst case scenario, which then allows them to go make offers on a new home without the contingency of having to sell theirs. And by doing that, that takes a lot of stress off of the process, takes a lot of stress off of the seller of the home that our seller is buying, if that makes sense. So, we guarantee the sale of our home, and then we then can take that contingency away on the property that the seller wants to buy. So most, 80% of the people out there that are looking to buy a home have to sell their home first before they're able to buy another home. And so our guarantee, not only for our sellers as purchasing their next home, allows them to make an offer without contingencies on their next home, but the buyer that is buying their home, if they have a home to sell, we can guarantee the sale of their home, which then allows them to make an offer on our listed home without any contingency. So it makes it a much easier process when everybody knows exactly how much they're going to get for their home on the market to be able to purchase the next home.
Okay, so I've got a friend who's smack dab in the middle of this process, and he did not have Chris Schmidt. He's not in Houston. And so what's happening is he's got his home. So I'm going to call that home A, right? So he's wanting to buy a home in another state and call that home B. So he put his home up on the market. Right away started getting offers. He then put an offer on home B. He got a contract for home A, but his contract on home B fell through.
Okay.
So now he has to go and find home C to make the purchase. So he's in this super tight window. The people that he's selling his home to want to buy, they want to do the transaction in 2 to 3 weeks. He still has to confirm and make the purchase on home C. the whole time he's pulling his hair out because people are coming in and out of the house, showing he works from home, and they've never even seen home B. They just saw pictures, saw a listing. They've got to close that contract before they end up having to live out of a hotel before they can go there. So let's just say that he concludes that home B is the home that he ends up buying, and they close on home A. If he would have come to you, what would have been different about that situation?
So one of the biggest differences that we offer is our cash offer program. So we have, like I said earlier, we have a list of almost 70 home buyers. Some of them are institutional buyers. Some of them are groups of investors that are buying homes to hold them and keep them. Some of the buyers are buyers that would purchase the home and then resell it later. So we have a huge array of buyers that we would be able to make a cash offer on home A, the home that he's selling. So we always has that as a backup. Plus, with those offers, you kind of can choose your closing date. So let's say he accepts one of these offers, home B falls through. He still has time to go get home C, and we can not only extend the cash offer for closing date, but a lot of these buyers would also allow him to stay in the home after closing. So he would be able to rent the home back, his current home back, waiting for the next one to sell. So that means that we would close on his current home. He would get the money for the current home, and then he would just have to pay a lease and stay in the home until he could close on the next home. So that would, relieve a lot of the stress, not only with showings, people coming in and out of the house. If this, friend of yours has kids, or if he has animals, or, whatever it is, it's always a task to get all of that stuff put
Yeah.
away, to make sure the house looks good, to make sure it's, show ready, et cetera, et cetera. With using the cash offer program, you don't have anybody come in your house, with the exception of once you accept the offer, they send one of their home inspectors over, and basically all that they do is make sure that the home that they are purchasing through the pictures and info that we sent is what they're actually getting. So they just want to make sure there's not, like we didn't take a picture of a patio that's falling down. So they want to just make sure that what we presented them is actually what they're getting. And then they don't do any other inspections. They don't do appraisal. Everything is handled within the company. And so it makes it a much easier process to sell your current home and purchase another home, because there's a lot of options to make sure that the timing works well.
He's got a dog, and so every time they had an appointment to come and see the house, he had to take the dog somewhere else, and he had to evacuate the home as well, again in the middle of his workday. So you're telling me that with a cash offer, there's no showings?
Correct. Yeah. We present the cash offer. If the seller accepts one of the offers, we move forward with a contract. Once the contract is signed, they just send one person over to just make sure that the home that we presented is the home that they're buying. That's it.
So when I think of a cash offer, and it's because I'm not a realtor and I don't really know, I think of two things. I think of some foreign entity wiring money, and I don't know who they are, and I don't know what to expect because they're not going to move into the house, or maybe they are going to move the house. I don't know. Or the second thing is some kind of a bank that is going to kick me out the minute that they send money. And are they going to pay off my mortgage? I mean, how different is a cash offer from my perspective as a person sitting in a home? How different is a cash offer than with investors, as opposed to someone who's actually going to live in the home, from my perspective?
So from the seller's perspective, once you close on the house, you get cash, whether it's somebody who has financing, whether it's somebody who's paying cash for it. As a seller, it's all cash, so it doesn't really matter. The only stick up that you have, or the only hold up that you would have with somebody with a mortgage, is then they have to deal with appraisals, have to deal with inspections, and there's just more hurdles to get to that closing. With our cash offer program, we have those types of institutional buyers where they purchase a home with the intent of fixing it up a little bit and reselling it. So those offers usually come in a little bit lower than market value. And some people that works for, because it's easy process. There's a convenience fee, basically. Like you order food that be it, instead of going to a drive-through, you order food and have it delivered. There's a charge for that, right? So you pay for a convenience. So with some of these cash buyers, there is that convenience fee where you're not going to get as much for your home, but it allows you to, be able to schedule your closing better. It allows you to possibly lease back the home. There's a lot more options with that. Now, we also do have some buyers that are, we have one company that is built by realtors, and it's designed to work with realtors. So they pay pretty much close to market value, sometimes more than market value of what I've seen. And it makes it an easy process because you don't have to worry about the appraisal. You don't have to worry about inspections. It's a straightforward cash offer, and you get to choose your closing date. You get to choose if you want to lease the property back after, so you can have your money in hand before you go purchase another home. But either way, it allows you to make a non-contingent offer on your next property, even if you choose the same closing date as when your next home is going to be purchased. So it just makes it an easier, quicker process without having to deal with all the extra steps that you would selling it the traditional way.
So these investors, they're regular people. They're not going to try and strong arm, or there's not going to be any issues with the mortgage getting paid off or anything
Right.
like that.
Yeah. So you'll know exactly up front how much that offer is going to be. So you'll know that, I can pay off my mortgage. I'll have money to move, whatever the details are with what you need to sell your home. We make sure that the offer fits what you need. So that way, when the house does close on closing day, it goes through a traditional title company. So, they pull the payoff amount for your home, make sure that gets paid off, make sure all the closing costs get paid, which usually these buyers pay for the majority of closing costs as well, with a traditional on the market listing. All that stuff's negotiable. So you may be stuck as a seller paying for the majority of the closing costs, depending on what the buyer asks for. So with these offers, they usually pay for the majority of the closing costs, and you'll be able to know upfront what that money is going to be to make sure that your mortgage gets paid off. Make sure that you don't have any. It ends up delivering a clear title to that buyer, just like you would with any other buyer at a title company, to make sure that everything's legal, everything's on the up and up, and they know where the money's coming from, where the money's going. So there's no questions about, any legalities after that.
So that makes more sense now, because I read multiple cash offers, and now I understand, because it seems to me like if there was multiple cash offers, you would just pick the best one and bring it to the. But at the same time, though, there are different types of offers.
Yes.
And that's why you find the offer that matches the needs of the seller.
Yeah. And with the majority of the time, when I enter an address into our system, we get at least 5 or 6 offers. Sometimes we can get 10 or 12 offers. And it just depends on where the house is, what price range it is, to how many offers we're going to get. Some of our buyers, are able to buy in a higher price range. Some of them are able to buy in a lower price range. Some of them have a minimum that they will purchase in and a maximum, but there's so many options within the system that we're able to get, at least 3 or 4, sometimes up to 12 offers on each house.
Wow, that's amazing. So how how come everybody doesn't do this? Do they not have access to the system?
Well, so this system was built for our brokerage. So
Ah,
not everybody has access to this. Most agents, if they learn about it and know about it, have access to some buyers, but those are like Open Door, Redfin. Zillow doesn't buy houses anymore because they weren't able to make this process work. But there's those big institutional buyers out there that most agents can provide those offers to their clients, but those offers a lot of times are 15% under market value, because how those offers work is that, Open Door, for instance, they're going to purchase your home, they're going to fix up the home, and then they're going to flip it and sell it again. When you sell a home to them, you get the amount that they offer you, period. With the buyers that we have that are doing that flip process, you will get a portion of the money up front, which would be about what you would get from an Open Door or a Redfin, but they're then going to take some money, upgrade the house, update things if it needs carpet or if it needs flooring, paint, any of those, minor upgrades. They'll do that, and then they're going to put the house back on the market. But the difference with our buyers is not only do they do the upgrades, but when that house sells the second time, the seller gets those proceeds as well. So it's a two-part closing. You get part of the money up front, which then allows you to go purchase your next home, move, and then when the house sells the second time, you also get the difference in what the home sells for. So if we sell, for example, if we purchase your home, or if one of our buyers purchases your home for $300,000, they then put in $30,000 in upgrades, and we sell it for $400,000, you're due a portion of that difference. So you're not going to get all 70 because there are costs with the program, but you may get another $50,000 more than what you would have selling it to one of these other buyers.
Wow. So you'd think that if somebody's doing a cash offer, then it sounds like my opinion going into this conversation was it's like we buy junk cars,
right?
Like they're just going to give you $1 if you'll take $1. But it sounds like what you're explaining is it's very entrepreneurial to actually do this. It's almost like you're leveraging somebody else's business to actually make you more money.
Yes, absolutely. So the seller is leveraging what these other businesses do to get more money than they would, using a, one of the cash. If you go and search on Google cash buyers, the top, all the big institutions come up because they're billion-dollar companies. But why they're billion-dollar companies is because they pay you less than what you deserve, and then they make the difference on reselling it. With our buyers that do the two-part closing, you get to benefit from both sales.
Wow. So then your role as a realtor, now all of a sudden you have to be technically proficient at navigating a two-part sale when you go to help a customer.
Yeah. It's not as difficult as it sounds, because we represent our seller in the sale to one of the cash buyers. And then we also represent that cash buyer when we turn it over to sell it again. So what we do is make sure that not only is our initial client's best interest followed in the first sale, we also make sure that we maximize and get the most for that client on the second sale as well, because we want to make sure that not only do you benefit from the initial cash offer, but you also benefit from that second sale. So we are out there to make sure that we maximize both sales to make sure that our client gets the most amount of money for their home.
And with you being the realtor and the broker, the buck stops with you. So there's no way that you're going to come back to your client and go, well, my boss said,
Right.
you get to help all the way through, and you're in charge.
Yeah, because it's my company, we get to make the rules, and we get to make sure that everything happens the way it needs to.
And 20 years selling homes, you've got a vast amount of experience. Do you offer any kind of real estate educational training? If somebody said to you, hey, look, I'm not necessarily going to sell my house right now, but I would like to learn more about this process, what would you suggest that they do?
Well, so we have multiple videos that we've produced that kind of walk a client through the process, both buyers and sellers, that we can tell them exactly what each step of this process looks like, So when they are ready, they already are educated on how it works. In addition to that, once we do get them as clients, we do educate them through the process as well, make sure that they know exactly what's going on every step of the process. They know, what companies we're using. They know for as far as um, title companies, as far as inspectors, they know every step of the process, and we keep them educated throughout the entire thing.
Wow. This is a whole different um, scenario than what I was expecting, just based on my experience with buying my first home and looking at selling it. Let me ask you this: my neighbor went through a divorce and ended up letting his home go to auction,
Mm.
and I have a feeling that he didn't make out very well. There were repairs that needed to be done. Would he have had the option to do to take advantage of a cash offer?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and the sad fact is that 50% of the people that get married in this country are going to get divorced. So there are a lot of people going through the process of trying to sell their house during a divorce. We do have some education on that as well, because there's a lot of things that you have to think of in a divorce sale that you don't have to deal with in a sale that is not dealing with a divorce. Um, there's, do you sell your home before the divorce? Do you wait till after the divorce is final? What happens to the proceeds during a divorce? There's a lot of different things that a seller that is going through divorce needs to know that the majority of agents are not educated on enough, as far as what the process looks like and how they need to handle that sales process compared to what the normal process would be for a seller. So we have that education, we provide that education, and we are able to answer questions um, for both parties in the divorce, is what that looks like to go through that process.
Now, I see on your sign it says cash for your home as is, fast clothing closing. So with the as is, to me that sounds like when you have deniability and you want to go as is, it sounds like you're not going to get as much money. But how does the as is factor into the cash offer?
So we not only the cash offer, but in all of our sales, we kind of do an as is sale. So there is no legal, as is, where is um, ability for sales on the open market. As far as the cash offer goes, what that means is they don't have to worry about doing any repairs. They don't have to worry about, if the air conditioner is not working properly. In a traditional sale, that's a buyer is going to have an inspection done, and then they're going to come back with all these things that need to be addressed before they purchase the home. With our cash buyers, we don't have to worry about that, because they actually do make an offer on the home as is, where is. So the cash offer that they make, unless there is something different in the home when they actually take a look at it that they didn't know about beforehand. Like they have, um, you know, there's one room where all the drywall on the bottom is cut out because it flooded, and they didn't know about that before. That's going to change the offer. But as long as everything that is presented to that buyer initially is the same as what they're expecting, they don't worry about any repairs. They don't worry about changing the offer afterwards, as far as, oh, we found out that, you know, your air conditioner needs, an adjustment. It needs some repairs. So we're going to drop the price a little bit. They don't do that. What they do is they make that offer, purchase the home, and then they go in and do an actual inspection to make sure that everything is properly working for the next buyer. So if there's an air conditioning issue, they fix that. If there's a roof issue, they fix that. All of that stuff comes out of what the proceeds out of the next sale is. So your first closing on the property is going to be completely as is. You don't have to worry about doing any repairs. The second sale is where we would make any of those adjustments um, of how that's going to work, and the seller knows that up front, so where there aren't any surprises afterwards. They're told in the entire process, this is what needs to be fixed, this is what we're going to do, this is how much money they're going to spend. so they know what that upgrade process looks like. And then we also tell them what the market value of that house is going to be after all those repairs are made, so they know what the difference is that they're going to make on that second sale. If we want to talk about traditional listings, we also have a very special way that we do that. So we have what's called a certified pre-owned home program that we offer for all of our sellers that are going on the open market. And what that means is we, just like buying a certified pre-owned car, right? They're inspected, they come with some sort of warranty, and so that way buying that car that you are buying something that doesn't have any surprises in it. So with our certified pre-owned home program, we get the home inspected before we put it on the market, and then we offer that inspection to any buyers. So that way, basically, we're paying for their inspection. They're welcome to do their own again if they want, but our inspection is done by a licensed inspector in Texas. They have the exact same list of things that they look for that whatever inspector the buyer wanted to hire would be looking for. So not only does that offer the buyer a little bit more comfort knowing that what they're purchasing, they know exactly what's wrong or right with the house. It also comes with a 12-month warranty that covers up to $25,000 worth of repairs on that home after closing. And then we also offer a 24-month buyback guarantee. So any of our homes that are purchased, that buyer knows that for any reason within 24 months, if they're not satisfied with the home that they bought, we will actually buy it back. Our company will buy it back, or we will sell it for free. It's at buyer's choice. So both ways, whether we're doing a cash offer or whether we're doing a traditional listing, we can pretty much get that as is condition, because everything is up front for the cash buyer. They know exactly what they're buying. If we have a traditional listing, that buyer also knows what they're buying as well. So that way, throughout the process, we don't have somebody doing their own inspection, then coming back and going, oh, well, there's $25,000 worth of repairs that need to be done, and we want you to pay for it. Well, no, these were already disclosed to you, so you knew that what was wrong with the house when you made the offer. That's clear. So we don't have any of the people coming back asking for thousands and thousands of dollars worth of repairs because they didn't know about this when they made the offer.
Did you say 24 months?
24 months. For 2 years after they purchase the house, we will buy it back from them.
Wow. And again, you're not just saying this as a realtor, you're saying it as the owner.
Right. It like you said, the buck stops here.
24 months. Wow. Okay, I have to ask, what other guarantees do you offer? Because so far, each one has blown my mind.
So we have within our listing agreement, we have a list of guaranteed in writing offers for our sellers. We have not only the guaranteed price offer, so we guarantee that we're going to get their price or we're going to pay them the difference. We guarantee a 90-day sales process. So if we don't get you an offer within 90 days of putting your house on the market, we start paying you every single week $100 until we do. So if we don't sell your house in 90 days, we're going to start paying you after that time. We have a communication guarantee. So anytime you call our office, you will receive a response within 24 business hours, or we're going to pay you $100. We have a guaranteed track record guarantee. So if at any time anybody can show that any of the things that we present as far as what my experience and background is, anything that they can find that was fraudulent, we will donate $500 to a charity of their choice. So not that we've ever had to do that, but that is one of the guarantees that we offer. We also have we sign a 6-month listing. Not only do we start paying you after 90 days, if we fail to sell your home within 6 months, we will reduce our entire commission to zero and market it for an additional 6 months if that seller wants to do that. Now, again, we've never had to do that because our homes sell faster and for more money than our competition. and we have numbers that prove that. We also we sell our homes for on average 2% more than the average agent. We sell more homes than the average agent, and we sell homes faster than the average agent. And furthermore, we have the average when a home goes on the market, on average, 70% of the time that home actually sells with that agent. So 30% of the homes that go on the market do not sell the first time with an agent. Our track record is 98%. So 98% of the homes that we put on the market the first time sell the first time at the first listing price.
Wow. Wow. My mother listed a home and she asked me to come and be in the meeting when she met with the listing agent. And she listed the home. She signed a listing agreement and she tried to negotiate the rate down. And the gentleman said, I'm earning this commission. So this is what my rate is. And she said, what are you going to do to make sure the home sells since this is your, and he said, I'll market it. And as it turned out, his version of market it was to put it on the MLS.
Right.
Well, 6 months later, the house didn't sell. She now rents it out. So my question to you is, how you guys must be, if you're selling more, it's the same houses as everybody else. So what kind of marketing are you doing? Are you actually marketing?
Well, so you're absolutely right. The average agent thinks that sticking a house in the MLS is marketing a home. In our opinion, the MLS is the abdication of marketing. It's not really marketing. You're commoditizing that home. So you're putting pictures up in the MLS to make it look like every other home that's on the market. So in our marketing process, the MLS is the very last step. So before we stick it in the MLS, we have a list of buyers in waiting. We have over 5,000 people in our database that are looking to purchase homes in the Houston area. We gathered all of those through our marketing efforts. So people have come to us and said, we like what you do. We want to see if we can find a house that's off market because we don't want to have to compete with other buyers. So we have a bunch of buyers that are looking for homes before they go on the market. So the very first thing that we do when we sign a listing is put pictures up and send these homes to those buyers. So if we can't find a buyer in our list of buyers that wants to purchase that home, we then go and market out on multiple other areas. Whether we go to social media, we market it on Google pay-per-click, we market it through our website and our web team. There's a lot of steps that we take putting that house out there, not only in areas that most agents don't think of putting it, but when we market the home, like I mentioned before, we have that certified pre-owned home program. So that alone makes a home makes a home appear different than every other commoditized home out there. So it's not just another home on the market. We offer buyers benefits for purchasing our listing over any other home. One of them is that certified pre-owned home program. The other is we have special financing options that we can give buyers we also have a mortgage broker's license. So our company has its own financing as well. And we can offer special financing on those homes for buyers, whether it's currently we have a 1% rate reduction that we can do. So we can sell, similar to what new construction homes can offer buyers, we can offer that stuff as well. We can do a rate reduction. We can buy down the rate for, the first couple of years. We do offer a 12-month rate guarantee. So within 12 months, if the rate drops, we'll refinance the home at no cost. So we basically offer a free refinance. They'll still have to pay for closing costs and the appraisal fee and that sort of thing. But as far as the lending fee, there's no origination costs on any of those refinances. And then we also offer some cash towards closing. So we can, on an average $300,000 house, we can offer $10,000 to $15,000 worth of cash towards closing costs that's worked into the loan as well. So there's so many options with our lending. There's so many options with our guarantees that our homes can stand out shoulders above every other listing out there So by putting it in all these places, by offering all these buyer benefits, makes the home completely different than every other home on the market. So when we finally do put it in MLS, those guarantees, those offers can be published out to all of the other websites that people actually are going online to look at, right? So most buyers are not going to our local MLS, har.com, to look for homes. The majority of buyers look on Zillow, they look on realtor.com, they look on all these other sites that the MLS ends up pushing out to. But the way that we market the home to those other sites is different than what an MLS is going to allow us to do. So we can actually put those buyer benefits into the listing that a local MLS doesn't allow us to do. So all of the stuff that you see on the sites that people actually go search for homes is different than what the average agent does, because by sticking in MLS, you can only market specific things, which is, the average agent puts in, it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home, X amount of square feet, this size yard, you know, come enjoy this new neighborhood, or blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares about any of that. What the buyer sees when we put a home on the market, oh, is this home, I can get a 1% rate reduction. I can get special financing options. I can get cash towards closing. I can get, a free refinance for 12 months. So that sets our home completely apart from everybody else.
Wow. Which then sets your company apart from everybody else.
Absolutely.
Can you give me an instance, and we'll start to wrap up here. I know you've got another appointment. Well, let me just ask you this: can you give me an instance where a customer came to you and they kind of were like, "Hey, look, it all sounds good, but we're just not sure," and they give you an opportunity, and you just blew their mind, and they were just amazed at how it went?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Can you give me an instance where somebody came to you and said, "I understand you're telling me that you do all this stuff and why you're different," but they were still skeptical. But then by the time they were done with the transaction, they were just raving fans.
Yes, that happens more than I actually can explain, because most sellers, when they're going to sell their house, they interview multiple agents, and all of the other agents they can promise you, oh, I'm going to do a great job, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to do this and this for your home, but there's no teeth to their guarantee, right? All they're doing is, I'm going to promise you I'm going to do a good job. Our company, we offer written guarantees in our listing agreement. We don't use the standard board listing agreement that every other agent uses, which is like 14 pages, and it doesn't offer the seller any benefits other than, we're going to sell your home and we're going to sue you if we don't get paid. That's pretty much what that board form says. Our form that we use is written for our company, and we have an entire page that is written guarantees of what we're going to do for you in the process. So usually they're blown away by that. If they're not, but I can still convince them that we are the best company to sell their home for them, there are so many things in the process that we do that by the end of it, they are completely blown away, because no other agent that they've ever used, we've bought and sold 10 homes, and we have never had an experience like what we've had with your company, because with us, you don't just have an agent. Yes, you will be working most likely with me, right? Or somebody on my team. But my team consists of not just one person. You get, a customer service representative. You get a contract, uh, um, you get a contract, oh my goodness.
Admin or specialist?
Let me think. I'm gonna have to start this one over. Um, I can't even think of it. Let's start this one over. Ask me that again.
So if you were to if somebody came to you and they were skeptical of what sets you apart from the rest of the competition, and you give them some explanations, when they're done and their mind is blown at how the whole transaction went, do you have an example of that?
Yeah. So it's actually amazing how many people to me, are skeptical in this process. And I think the reason why is because worked with other agents before, and they've promised them the moon and stars, and then they've just been disappointed at the end. So we don't overpromise and underdeliver. We make our promises. Our promises and our guarantees are in writing. So, and all those guarantees come with some sort of, if we don't perform, you get rewarded with this, right? And all those are written out in our listing guarantees or in our listing agreement. The standard agent, most agents use a form that was designed by, you know, 10 attorneys and 5 realtors at the state level. And they've designed this 14-page agreement that basically has no promises in it other than, I'm going to try to sell your house and you're going to pay me this or we're going to sue you. Our form, we don't use a board form. Our forms that we use are all designed for your home sold guaranteed realty. And all of our contracts have written guarantees in them with a backup. So if we don't do this, you're going to get cash or you're going to get this reward by us if we don't perform. So not only are our guarantees in writing, they have teeth to them, but if we can't convince these people by just that alone, if I finally can convince them to work with us, by the time that they get through this entire process, they are absolutely blown away by how we handle the transaction, because we're not just a one-person team. Our team has contract negotiations. We have a customer service representative. We have, buyer's agents and selling agents that will help you through this process, but you don't just get one person. You get an entire team of people working to sell your home.
Yeah. A lot of times I've noticed that the high end realtors that I've dealt with, by high end I mean the successful realtors that I've come into contact with, they seem to be part of masterminds or groups where they learn from others. Are you in a group like that where you can benefit from the experience and knowledge of others?
Yeah. So that's actually what has completely changed our business around. So like I mentioned earlier, I was part of a national brand. And I had been with that company for the majority of my career because I didn't know any different. And how those major brands, whether it's Keller Williams, whether it's Coldwell Banker, whether it's Century 21, even what are the new brands like we call them expired realties. So there's it's just the name that they have on there. But these are national brands that their entire goal is to get butts in seats, because how they make their money is by having a monthly fee for each agent. That's how they make money, by collecting licenses. So what completely changed that for me is I became a member of one of these mastermind groups. And, we have everybody from agents starting out that have never done a single deal to people that are making, 10, $15 million a year in income on their team. And this isn't 10 or $15 million worth of sales. This is $10 or $15 million worth of actual income, gross income to their teams. So, we have absolute top real estate agents in the entire world that are in this mastermind, and we learn from each other. We come up with ideas on how to do things differently, how to market homes differently, how to appeal to buyers and sellers differently on the web. So this mastermind, because I became a member of that about 4 years ago, actually COVID is what changed my life. So I had been with this national brand doing things the same way, thinking that MLS was actually marketing homes, sending out the typical flyers and the postcards and the same thing that everybody else does. Well, when COVID happened, I had 3 deals that, as a person who is 100% commission based, each deal is, I'm paying my mortgage, I'm paying for food, I'm paying electric. So I had 3 deals that just completely evaporated because COVID happened. And so things got locked down, people freaked out, what's going to happen? Everybody canceled. So I started freaking out and looking for either I need to go get a job that's going to pay me, bi-weekly or, bi-monthly or whatever it is, and have health insurance and all that stuff. or I'm going to need to figure out a better way to do this. And so I found this mastermind group, and just small changes in what I was doing changed it doubled my income in the first year. And so I was amazed. So then I kept moving forward. And so 4 years later, here we are with our own brokerage and have never looked back, because not only have I been able to be a better agent and a better broker for our clients, because we do things differently than everybody else. And in fact, what the majority of agents do, we look at and go the complete opposite direction and change it completely around on its head to do something that nobody has seen before, nobody's thought before. And this mastermind group is what has helped me do that.
Wow. And of course, your success is 100% dependent on the success of the sale.
Absolutely.
The clients. Wow. All right, let's wrap up with one lightning round question.
Okay.
What is your personal favorite part about being a realtor or broker?
My absolute favorite part is helping people get what they want. And whether it's a person selling their house because they want to purchase a new home, or they need a bigger home for their family that's growing, being able to be a part of that process and educate that person and help them through what is a pretty scary process for most people, because most people in their entire life may buy 4 or 5 homes. Well, we do 4 or 5 homes within a couple of months, right? So we sold 1,100 homes, give or take, in my career. So that's more than anybody would ever think to purchase, unless you're an investor. Maybe you would end up buying that many homes in your lifetime, but the average person doesn't have that much experience. So being able to help someone through that education process, help them be able to get to their goal, whether it's buying a house or selling a house, getting them through that and getting them comfortable and making the process as easy as possible for them, really is what gives me my life force, right? It gives me that juice to go to the next person and the next person and the next person, because we know that we can make a difference in their life.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Chris Schmidt, how does somebody get in touch with you if they want to ask you questions or check out your cash offer? How do they get a hold of you?
Well, so you can, as simple as Googling Chris Schmidt Realtor, you'll come up with all of our website, our Google business page, come up with our realtor.com, Zillow, etc. You'll be able to find us on any of those things. Also, my direct phone number, 713-226-9427. That rings to my cell phone. Text call there. Email address, chris@chrishometeam.com. Any of those ways are a good way to get a hold of us.
And you'll make multiple cash offers on pretty much any home?
Pretty much any home. We have cash buyers that are looking in every price range. There are some limitations to that, because we have to make sure that it's something that actually makes sense. So they're not going to buy something completely outside of market value. But pretty much every home that we've ever come across, we can get an offer on. The exception to that is we've had somebody come to us that they had a home that was a rental that pretty much needed to be torn down. We weren't able to get them but one offer on that house, because it was an investor who was going to tear the house down anyway and build something else on the lot. But the average home, we're able to get at least 3 or 4 offers on that home.
Wow. Chris Schmidt in the Houston, Texas area, thank you so much for joining the show, Cash for Your Home podcast.
Thank you.
And we'll appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.